Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's upload is going to be a short range forecast, and this is something new that I'm starting. So if you like these short range forecasts, if you want just a quick 3 to 4 day outlook in the next 3 to 4 days, then leave a comment saying that you like them, or if you don't, then you could also leave a comment saying you're not fond of them. In general, if you like my channel, if you like anything that I do, consider subscribing. Clicking that subscribe button down below helps support my channel, and it gets my videos out to more viewers. So thank you for that. We are now going to look at the GFS, and we're going to only go out to, say, around the hour 180, if not a little bit less. So right now we're looking at this system right here in the northeast. Sorry about that. And it's going to be bringing some snow, especially to the upper elevations, but not much snow by the coastal areas. The main event, I would say, about this, for this short range forecast, the main event would be the cooler air that's going to be coming in into Wednesday, Thursday, especially tomorrow for many locations, which is going to be Tuesday. But before we do that, I would like to look at the MSLP GFS rain/frozen, which is what we're looking at right now. So we also see a potential little system trying to make its way dive down into the central part of the United States. Doesn't really make it that far. Potentially another western coast system bringing quite a bit of heavy rain into the west, quite a bit of snow for the ski resorts. Southern California might get in on this. And whether these two systems phase together, we will need to watch this, because we're seeing a low pressure up here, something starting to develop right here. If we get enough moisture and rain to get pushed up into the cold air, we could get a pretty large maybe storm system going up here. At this point, this doesn't seem likely, but it's always possible. Then we get a fairly large system that is going up around the Sunday time frame into Sunday, which is already next week. But again, this is just short range, so we're only going out into the next couple of days. So let's go back to the 2 meter temperature, 2 meter temperature anomalies. And like I mentioned, this is going to be the main story of this whole video, the cold weather that's going to be intruding its way into the United States. So we are right now at hour 0, Winter Storm Bruce, and my location left around 7-8 inches. Depends on where you were in the yard, because there was so much drifting, there were such strong winds that one location was 15 and one location was 2 inches. So, it makes difficult measurement. So, after Winter Storm Bruce passed through, we are looking at the cold air spilling in from Canada. It's going to be bringing many locations down into the 20s and teens for many of the days to come. We are looking at mainly a eastern section of the United States to be colder than average. This western section, maybe only in upper elevations, the mountains. However, the warm air will persist in the lower elevations, and where most of the population lives in major cities. We go through in time. This is already Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. And we are seeing especially the cold air along this area where the snowpack was, where the snowpack is, where the snow fell. That is because the snow is reflects any heat, light that the sun gives right back into the atmosphere, so it doesn't really warm us up at all. That's why it's going to stay the coldest. And this is a little stubborn, it sticks around for quite a bit. This is already Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, and you could see it's still sitting around, especially in the southeast and east. But the warm air is very eager to make its way in. And by Friday, it does eventually, especially with this one system that we will need to keep an eye on for, which could bring quite a bit of snow. Saturday and into Sunday, things start to warm up, but really start to cool off in the west, which we will need to watch, because cooler conditions in the west, they may transition later to a cold east, so we'll just have to watch that. So let's go to the 2 meter temperature shaded, which, if you were waiting for me to show you the actual temperatures across much of the country, this is where I will be showing them. And this is again Monday, which is today when I'm making this video. Many locations staying below 0 during the day. In fact, a huge chunk of the Midwest staying below 32 degrees, but the Northeast not there yet. Maybe Wednesday and Thursday will be the coldest day for them. And again, another thing to point out, look, the coldest temperatures during the nights getting down to 14, 10, 12, single digits, wind chills, even potentially sub-zero in some of these locations. So definitely something to be watchful for. Again, Wednesday is another day where areas like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, parts of West Virginia don't really get above freezing. We go into Thursday morning and the frost and freeze gets down as far south as Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and starts pushing more to the east, while states here, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, start warming up. We move on into Thursday into Friday. The cold air does try making its way into the Northeast, and it does. It's going to bring some chilly temps, especially during the morning hours. But notice how it's going to get fairly cold down here, 40s, 30s, potentially as far south as, again, South Carolina, North Carolina. That will be the bigger story, because if we were to look at the 2-meter temp anomalies, most of the cold air is centered across that area, not necessarily the Northeast. So let's go back to 2-meter temp shaded. And we go through this, maybe, the cold air trying to wrap its tentacles down into the south, trying to push itself down, but the warm air is resisting, especially from the western flanks. And eventually, it doesn't give in. Maybe at the end, like I mentioned, towards the end of the forecasting period, we could start seeing the cold air making its way into the west. But in terms of the east, it looks fairly warm for the later part of the week, but the next couple of days look cold. So at the beginning cold, then warm, and then we will see what happens in the long range. Again, this is a short range forecast, so we're focused on the next 3 to 4 or 5 days. We look at total snowfall accumulations in the next, let's go out till Sunday. Nothing major in the east. Maybe that the storm that is happening right now, Winter Storm Bruce, still occurring across the Northeast. That will bring probably the most of this snowfall that's on here. And then potentially we could start seeing quite a bit of snow in the west, so we will need to watch that. In terms of total accumulated precipitation, we are looking at not much across the north-central part of the country, mainly across the east and the west. And that was a GFS model, so let's quickly look at the European model in terms of rains and thunder, rain accumulation. Again, let's go to the next 5 days. So most of it does fall in the east and the south, and quite a bit in the west, but not much in the north-central part of the country going on at all. So that is that. In terms of new snowfall accumulations, we could start seeing a storm system at the end of the short range, starting to brew here in the northern central plains. But definitely the snowfall totals from this winter storm Bruce will be fairly significant in the Northeast. I just wanted to give a short range forecast on everything today. So a little quick example of, I think this is the next 48 hours of snow. So this is a little bit behind since it's still showing snow in Illinois. Now it's out. You can see the time frame is going to be right here in the date. So Monday 26th, November 26th, 7 p.m. that is today. This is tomorrow at 1 a.m., 7 a.m., 1 p.m. You can see fairly hefty amounts of snow in upper New England, upper northeast, but otherwise not much really going on. Maybe some lake effect. I think this map is actually overdoing it, and definitely some more snow in the west, which could again lead to that big storm potentially riding up into the later part of the short range. So hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you learned something new, and again, consider subscribing, consider liking the video, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. Appreciate it, guys. See ya. Bye.